The European Union is expected to agree to an extension to a grace period that would allow the continued export of unfrozen meats to Northern Ireland from Britain, a contentious point in the North's post-Brexit arrangements. London requested that a grace period set to expire next week be extended until the end of September as a temporary solution to a dispute dubbed the Sausage War, which overshadowed Britain's post-Brexit debut on the world stage at the recent G7 in Cornwall. At a meeting on Wednesday, the European Commission's lead on relations with the UK, that's Vice President Maros Šefčovič, advised the 27 states to agree to extend the grace periods, which had been agreed last year to give Britain time to implement the so-called Johnson Protocol. The 27 provisionally backed the suggestion, but with caveats that are to be worked out in negotiations with Britain over the coming days. At least the Irish Times understands it that way. A British source said London is awaiting the details of any European Commission agreement to extend the grace period, including whether conditions are attached. However, an early response to the UK's request for a 3-month extension would be viewed as an encouraging signal, they said. The issue arose because the EU has no provision for unfrozen meats to be imported into the single market from countries that do not follow its rules, because fresh meat is a high-risk item to animal and human health. Under the protocol, Northern Ireland has remained in line with EU standards in order to avoid the need for checks across the island, meaning that checks must be imposed on goods arriving there from Britain. As a condition for agreeing to continue with imports of fresh meats, the member states will insist that Britain must continue to follow EU rules on agriculture for that duration. In addition, the 27 will insist that the extension can only be granted to allow both sides more time to find a permanent solution. The EU has proposed that Britain should formally agree to align on plant and animal rules, which it says would make obsolete 80% of checks currently required into Northern Ireland. However, London has ruled this out as contrary to the goals of Brexit, as it would require accepting EU standards and it has no role in setting them. The European Commission has come under pressure from national capitals to ensure that Britain implements the post-Brexit arrangements agreed last year in order to protect the single market from risks or unfair competition if goods enter via Northern Ireland that have not had to conform to EU standards. But Mr. Šefčovič told the member states on Wednesday that there was a need to avoid raising tensions as the peak of the marching season approaches. The issue is of symbolic significance, though major supermarkets in the north have indicated that they are able to source fresh meats locally without problems. The move came as Northern Ireland Secretary Brendan Lewis told MPs he is confident that Britain and the EU would agree changes to the operation of the Johnson Protocol. But Downing Street said it had not yet agreed to align temporarily with EU food standards if a grace period for chilled meats was extended. Mr. Lewis told the Northern Ireland Affairs Committee that almost every business group he had met in the North said they had issues with the Johnson Protocol they wanted to see resolved. We have been very clear that the current position of the protocol is not sustainable and we need to rectify that, and I'm optimistic and confident we will get that done in the time ahead, he said. I say no. I think it's reasonable for anyone to take the view that there will be changes, there has to be, he said. No, there hasn't, because the protocol is in place because it was the only solution after Johnson made the Theresa May backstop disappear. That's why they came to that protocol, because Johnson wanted that, because that was the only solution for what he wanted. There is no other solution for that. Britain has asked the EU for an extension until the end of this year for a grace period on the restrictions on chilled meats from Great Britain entering Northern Ireland. RTE News reported on Wednesday that European Commission Vice President Maros Šefčovič has advised member states that they would grant the extension quickly. And according to this report, the member states also agreed to grant the request on condition that Britain continues to align with EU food standards for the duration. But really, they have to find a long-term solution, and that either means Britain stays with the standards or implements the protocol. There is no other solution for that. And even if they always say the solutions are ongoing, but at the Northern Ireland Affairs Committee, the DUP's Ian Paisley told Mr. Lewis that any changes to the protocol must be significant. He said, "I don't think it should be lost on anyone as to why there is a requirement for significant changes, and I hope that those changes which you are tempting us with and putting in front of us, that they are actually significant, and they will not be tinkerings, but they will be changes which address this discrimination aspect." Yeah, but the DUP is completely out of the real world there. First of all, it is no discrimination of Northern Ireland. It is only checks on goods. There's no issue with services. There's no issue with the movement of people from Northern Ireland to the rest of Britain, and vice versa. And in the end, the Northern Irish are in a better position than anybody else. The Scottish wish they had the deal Northern Ireland got. You should ask the Scottish if they would have big troubles with that. So, but the DUP is stirring up the pot again, especially with marching season coming up. They want the riots. They want trouble. That is the problem there. They are playing with fire for domestic politics, for keeping their fracking seats. They don't care about people and their problems. They want to keep their seats because at the moment it looks like they're going to lose several if there's an election coming up or when the next election is coming up. That's the whole point. And Boris Johnson and his entourage are doing just the same for playing the tough guys just to keep their majority they got with lies and lies and lies. I'll see you in my next video. Auf Wiedersehen.